Another day, another James Charles accusation, man. At this point, it's starting to feel like some sort of running TV series, right? Like you're logging into the new, like some Netflix show or something, right? And every other week they drop a new episode or something like that. That's what it's legitimately getting to when it feels like reporting, I guess, on these situations, talking about these topics. It's bad enough to have something like this happen to you one time in your career, but for it to happen like half a dozen times within the span of just a few months, I mean, like, God, man, I don't even get how this can even happen to you, okay? I don't even understand how this can become a situation in which you have to, I guess, defend yourself in. If you somehow have not seen any of the videos or, like, any of the tweets, anything, I guess, really, James Charles has been accused of misconduct again. I don't know if this should come as a surprise to anybody, though. I don't know if this should be something that, like, you hear and you're like, well, I would have never have expected that to happen, because before we get any further into the video, I just want to say that nearly half of you watching have yet to subscribe. I try to post multiple videos per day to keep you entertained, so consider leaving a like to help support and subscribe with notifications on so you never miss anything. Also, all of my socials are on the screen right now, so consider leaving a follow on these for more awesome content, and also consider grabbing a shirt if you're really awesome. Now to the rest of the video. This is, I think, now the 6th time that this has been accused against James Charles, and all the stories are like extremely similar, right? They're all pretty similar. They pretty much contain the same basic information right now. This is like the 6th time, individually, by the way, that James Charles has been accused of flirting with or DMing or trying to have a relationship with an underage fan, okay? Now, once again, it's bad enough for that to be accused against you one time in your career, right? I mean, we've seen what these sorts of allegations can do to a YouTuber's career. I mean, Pyrocynical, right? He gets accused of some pretty reckless behavior. It pretty much ruined his career until he responded and tried to clear his name up, and even then a lot of people still hold the allegations against him and whatnot. You see people like Call Me Carson, who got an allegation thrown their way. His career is pretty much dead and gone, it seems like. I mean, I don't think he's addressed it necessarily, but even then, right, like, that did a lot of damage to his career. I mean, it just seems like at this point so many different creators, and even recently, right, with like the whole Dirty Dom, David Dobrik thing. David Dobrik lost his spot in a company that was valuated at $200 million that he helped co-found. He lost channel sponsorships, which brought in revenue to him. You know what I'm saying? So, we've seen what just one of these accusations can do to your career, the kinds of effects that they can have, the social pariah that you become when they are thrown your way. But to have 6 individual allegations made at different times between people who seemingly have no connections with one another, and they're all basically detailing the same thing going on to them, and they have screenshotted messages, or they're trying to prove that you did it, right? Like, how? So in this particular situation, somebody went to TikTok, they made a video, and they made some pretty damning allegations against James Charles. Now, this was apparently coming from a teenage fan of James Charles, go figure, somebody not of the legal age of consent or anything like that, who basically accused James Charles of being inappropriate, to say the least, okay? Now, I do want to go ahead and say, I don't know why TikTok seems to be like the platform that people come out to make allegations on in these kinds of situations, because I think this is like the 3rd or 4th time that somebody has went to like TikTok in particular to, I guess, kind of bring their story forward. I'm not really sure if there's some sort of correlation why people are doing that, or what the situation is with that, but this, of course, broke down over on TikTok. Now, this, of course, created a hellstorm on social media. People have been talking about it nonstop since this all really started to blow up once again, and it even got to the point where James Charles was trending on Twitter. People are calling for the deplatforming of James Charles, the cancellation of James Charles, the career-ending moves made, but it doesn't really seem like any of that has sort of kind of come to fruition yet, and I think that that's kind of weird, if I'm being honest. Now, of course, you know, I'm in most of my videos very anti-cancel culture, but I think it's quite hard to try and draw a comparison, canceling somebody because they had a controversial opinion, canceling somebody because they made an edgy joke or something like that. I don't really think that's comparable to somebody who has now been individually accused of being inappropriate to children multiple times, has openly admitted that he failed to vet any information to make sure these people are adults, has claimed he's going to do better multiple times, and has failed to do so, apparently. I don't really think those are the same things. If I'm going to call for the cancellation of somebody, it's going to be the guy who's being a weirdo towards kids all the time. And I mean, once again, you look at these other situations, and it completely baffles me on how James Charles has not been struck more for this yet. I mean, From what I understand, this is the 6th total allegation. I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up bumping those rookie numbers up, to say the least. But, this is the 6th allegation, and it seems like nothing really major has happened to James Charles. I mean, like I said, David Dobrik lost sponsors and literally lost equity in a company because of something that one of his crew members was alleged of, and his alleged involvement in kind of filming the content around that and whatnot. And you've seen YouTubers get canceled for much less. I mean, even when you look at, like, the, I guess, inappropriate behavior kind of things, like Shane Dawson, for all the things that he did, he pretty much got canceled, right? He lost probably millions of dollars from, a lack of content going out, sponsorships probably got cut. Maybe people stop buying his products as much, right? These people who get these kinds of things thrown against them, usually there's pretty lasting effects. And we've even seen it get to the point where if YouTubers are involved in controversies that take place even off-platform, it doesn't have to take place on YouTube, you'll see their monetization get halted for weeks at a time. So YouTube, for other creators, has made these jumps and everything, has made these strides to, like, I guess, hold them accountable for their actions, but I have yet to really, at least that I can remember, see any of that kind of happen towards James Charles. And if it did happen, then clearly it wasn't enough, right? Clearly they did not do a good enough job at sending a message to this motherfucker that, like, yo, bro, you can't be doing what you're doing, right? Like, you're acting a little foul. You're acting a little suspect with that. Now, there is a crowd of people who are defending James Charles, okay? And the main defense that I've seen for James Charles, and this is one that he's used before. Well, I didn't know their age. If I'd have known that it was a 16-year-old that I was talking to, I would have never have messaged him. He didn't know they were 16. Anyone can lie about their age. Yeah, but that's why you try to get proof. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand how hard of a concept that really is to grasp, right? Like, I'm a grown-ass man, right? There's just no way I'm getting caught up in a situation like this. I'm sorry, it's not happening, bro. Like, I'm gonna need to see some ID. I'm gonna need to see a passport. Like, something, bro. And people keep using the arguments like, oh, well, people can make fake IDs. Yeah, but how many people do you know honestly walk around with a fake ID? What is this, fucking super bad? You know what I'm saying? They're going to pull up with the McLovin card? And wouldn't you feel a little bit mentally better, right? Like, if it turned out that you were being a fucking weirdo, but at least you tried to find proof, and at least that person had to go to the lengths of literally making fake identification, which I'm pretty sure is a felony crime in and of itself, right? In order to trick you or whatever. Like, wouldn't you feel at least, like, maybe an inch better in your brain if that was the scenario, instead of you just having fucking half a dozen kids saying you were being a weirdo and you weren't even really looking for proof beyond them saying, oh yeah, I'm 20. I don't know, it's just the way that I think about it, bro. But actually, this is something I think that James Charles even said he was going to be doing again in the past, right? Like, oh, I'm going to, you're not going to see another one of these situations out of me, man. I've learned my lesson. From now on, I'm looking for IDs, I'm looking for passport, like, I'm looking for some info to prove, right? But what's crazy enough is it seems that in at least multiple of these situations now, the evidence has been there all along. Now, if I'm recalling correctly, and this is off the top of my head here as I record, in the last situation, which was like 3 weeks ago, it basically was fucking yesterday in the grand scheme of things, unfortunately, it turned out that the person that he, had gotten wrapped up with, gotten involved with, or whatever here, this kid, literally had their age put in social medias, like in the bios and in the descriptions of their social media profiles that were linked on the profile that James Charles, started DMing him on, which meant that information was like at most 4 seconds outside of his reach. You know what I'm saying? And according to Keemstar at Drama Alert, he was able to find the real age of the person who accused James Charles, and I guess another TikTok that they'd put on their profile, basically within the blink of an eye, man. Like, it didn't take them long whatsoever over there, I guess, to figure this whole thing out. So if this is true, right, and this information in multiple of these situations has literally been right there for James to find, there's just simply no fucking excuse. I mean, there's really no excuse as it stands, but there's just, it looks bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's really no way out of this, and I'm starting to wonder, like, how this even really, once again, becomes a thing, right? Like, how do you have this happen to you so many times? How do you get caught in 4K like this repeatedly? Now, also, according to Drama Alert and a screenshot from what appears to be the person who accused James Charles of all this, they had to delete the video where they, I guess, initially accused James Charles of this misconduct. And then going into the comments here, parents made me take it down because they apparently were contacted by the police. Everything in the video is 100% real. So according to the victim in this whole thing here, I guess the police are getting involved, which from my knowledge has not happened in any of these other situations. So is it possible that James Charles will face charges for this? I have no idea. I mean, if the cops are getting involved in investigating it, I think that's a very good first step. But like at a certain point, man, like you just got to kind of realize that Dude has openly admitted, like before, that he's fucked up when it comes to this. And this is like the 6th time that it's happened now. You know what I'm saying? It just, there's no excuse, man. With that being said, though, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubToOptimus. Make sure to check out Shop Opti down below. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, well, just confused on how this can repeatedly happen, and signing out.